Did you know the #1 reason for a complete engine failure is actually a simple fix that costs under $50? And honestly, it takes less than 30 minutes, but your mechanic will never tell you about it. In this video, I'll share 7 simple cleaning tricks that can prevent engine failure. These tricks can stop warped heads, blown gaskets, and ruined converters. And at the end, I'll also tell you about one extreme clean that ruins more cars than it saves. Air filter reset. Are you still replacing your car's engine air filter every 30,000 to 45,000 miles? If so, you're actually sending your car to an early grave. While your manual might say that, it's just referring to the regular maintenance schedule. There's also a severe service schedule, which is what most drivers fall under. It cuts that time frame by a third. If you drive in very hot or cold weather, take frequent short trips under 4 miles, sit in stop-and-go traffic or idle a lot, your car is considered to be under severe conditions. This means you should change the engine air filter every 12,000 to 15,000 miles, or once a year, whichever comes first. When an engine air filter gets dirty, the engine doesn't get enough oxygen, which affects combustion. You'll notice symptoms like poor acceleration, engine misfires, or stalling. If the filter is really clogged, fuel economy will also decrease. While a dirty filter isn't a huge deal on its own, waiting too long to replace it can cause serious damage. For example, engine misfires can damage the oxygen sensor and send unburned fuel to the catalytic converter. This can spoil the converter, which can cost over $2,500 to fix. Here's the frustrating part. Replacing an air filter is one of the easiest and cheapest things you can do. The air filter is housed in a black plastic box in the engine bay and is simple to open. A good rule of thumb is to check the filter before every oil change. Just hold it up to a light. If you can see the light through the filter, it's fine. If it's blocking the light, it's time to replace it. A $20 fix can save you over $2,000 in damages. Plus, it can improve your driving experience and help your car last much longer. Fuel injector cleanout. Did you know the nozzle of a fuel injector is about the same diameter as a human hair? This incredibly small opening delivers the precise amount of fuel needed to power your car. Unfortunately, it's also very easy to clog. Fuel injectors are built to last over 100,000 miles, but they can get clogged in as little as 10,000. Clogged injectors can cause rough idling, poor gas mileage, misfires, and failed emissions tests. In some cases, it can even cause detonation, which is that small knocking sound that can damage pistons or cylinder heads and lead to catastrophic engine failure. This can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $8,000 to fix. Fortunately, there's an easy solution: a fuel injector cleaner. This additive is poured into your fuel tank and cleans the fuel system, intake valves, and combustion chambers. If you've ignored the fuel injectors for too long or bought a high-mileage car, you might need a professional cleaning, which can cost up to $1,000. The best way to keep your fuel injectors clean is to use top-tier gas. It's proven to reduce carbon deposits without damaging your engine. It only costs a few cents more per gallon than regular gas, and every car maker recommends it. Mass airflow sensor fix. Problems with the mass airflow, or MAF, sensor are one of the most common check engine light error codes. Unfortunately, most drivers ignore this light for months. While symptoms of a faulty MAF sensor start off mild, they can quickly turn dangerous. The MAF sensor is responsible for measuring how much air flows into the combustion chamber, so the ECU can provide the right amount of fuel. When MAF readings are wrong, you'll end up with a rich or lean condition. This can cause rough idling, poor acceleration, and poor fuel economy. A failing MAF sensor can also cause your car to stall when you try to accelerate or lead to engine surges. Both can cause dangerous accidents. You can prevent these tragedies with 15 minutes of your time and a cleaner that costs less than $10. Don't rush to replace a faulty MAF sensor. Save the $500 and try cleaning it first. Once you locate the sensor, carefully unplug and remove it. Next, spray 10 to 15 shots of a cleaner made specifically for MAF sensors onto the hot wire. If the wire looks dull or has debris on it, spray it a little more. Let the sensor air dry completely on a clean cloth for about 15 minutes. It's a sensitive component, so don't dab it or use a hairdryer. Repeat this process every 10,000 to 15,000 miles or every time you replace the air filter. So here's something not a lot of folks realize. Fewer than half of drivers even know that a positive crankcase ventilation or PCV valve exists, and even fewer actually know what it does. This little valve, well, it releases pressure from your engine's crankcase, and that's actually a pretty important part of your car's ventilation system. Its main job is to remove unwanted gases from the crankcase. When the PCV valve gets clogged, pressure can build up, and that can blow out your engine's seals and gaskets. This can cause some major oil leaks, which could lead to overheating, premature engine wear, and even total engine failure. Other symptoms you might notice with a clogged PCV valve include high oil consumption, rough idling, and sometimes even a whistling sound. If you don't catch these signs early, you could end up with a blown head gasket, and that's a $3,000 repair that could have been avoided by replacing the valve for just $80. Now you can be proactive and save yourself even more money by inspecting the PCV valve every 20,000 miles. Usually you'll find it on the valve cover or near the intake manifold. When you give a PCV valve a shake, you should hear a ball moving around inside. A foolproof way to test it is to attach a balloon to the intake side of the valve and blow air through the valve cover side. If the balloon stays inflated, the valve is holding pressure and working fine. If not, just grab a can of carburetor cleaner, engine cleaner, or brake cleaner. Spray a generous amount into both openings, then soak it in a glass container for 5 minutes to an hour, depending on how clogged it is. Once it looks nice and sparkly and the ball rattles easily, let the PCV valve air dry completely before you put it back. Honestly, PCV valves can last forever. You only need to replace it if it stops working. And if the valve is running fine, you might not even need to clean it for 50,000 miles. If you've ever thought about boosting your car's performance, you might have heard about the EGR delete. The exhaust gas recirculation, or EGR valve, is designed to reduce emissions by recirculating exhaust gas back into the engine. Some people believe that deleting the EGR valve can boost fuel economy and engine performance. While deleting the EGR will lower carbon buildup, this process is actually very bad for your engine. When the EGR is stuck open, closed, or deleted, it leads to poor engine performance and engine knocking, which can severely damage pistons over time. An EGR delete is also illegal and comes with a fine of up to $5,000. Add that to the cost of new pistons and you're honestly looking at financial ruin. So what should you do instead? If your EGR is acting up, you can clean it yourself for under $40 or pay 10 times more to get it professionally cleaned. You only need to replace it if it's damaged. Cleaning the EGR valve every 30,000 miles can extend its lifespan by over 100,000 miles. All you need is EGR cleaning spray or carburetor cleaner and a new EGR valve gasket. The EGR valve is located on the intake or exhaust manifold. When you take it off, turn it upside down and spray a generous amount of cleaner. Let it soak for about 2 hours. If your car is older and you've never done this before, you might want to leave it overnight. Rinse it out with a clean solvent and dry it with compressed air. Install the new gasket and put the EGR back in place. It's also possible to clean the EGR valve without removing it by using a special cleaning kit. Of all the engine components that need cleaning, this is arguably the most important. While clogged filters, injectors and valves can affect the engine, a clogged throttle body can put your life at risk. When you step on the gas, the throttle body opens up for air to fill the combustion chamber. As that air moves in, the ECU adjusts the amount of fuel to maintain the right air-fuel ratio for combustion. Over time, carbon and grime build up on the throttle body valve, causing it to stick. Early signs of a dirty throttle body include rough idling, poor acceleration and stalling. If the valves stick shut while you're about to merge onto the highway, your engine will stall, and that could cause a nasty collision. That's why you need to keep the throttle body clean. If you experience any of the signs of a bad throttle body, inspect and clean it immediately. Otherwise, you can clean it every 30,000 miles. You'll need throttle body cleaning spray, a cleaning brush, general purpose oil, clean rags, cotton swabs, and safety equipment. The throttle body is located between the air cleaner and the intake manifold. Switch off the engine, disconnect the battery, and detach all hoses and ducts. Spray the cleaner onto the butterfly valve and gently scrub. You'll need to clean both sides of the valve. If your vehicle uses a drive-by-wire throttle body, get a friend to step on the gas to keep it open while you clean. Be careful to wipe off any excess cleaner residue on the throttle body and other engine components. Did you know that 50% of catastrophic engine failures are caused by the cooling system? All it takes is a little neglect and you'll be up to your eyeballs in bills. Despite what many people believe, coolant does have a shelf life. For some cars, it's as little as 30,000 miles, but it can be as high as 150,000. As coolant breaks down, it becomes acidic. This leads to rust and sediment buildup, which can clog the radiator and engine block. This can lead to overheating, which can cause warped cylinder heads and blown head gaskets. That will cost at least $1,500, but it can be as high as $4,000. That's why you need to inspect your coolant every month. Check the level, the color, and the smell. If it smells like maple syrup or candy, you either have a leak or a clog. Obviously, discolored coolant isn't good, even if the car still runs fine. If you notice any of these signs, or your car has gone 30,000 miles, it's time for a coolant flush. You can do this at home using distilled water, antifreeze, and a coolant flush chemical, or you can get it done by a professional for under $150. If that seems like a lot, just think of how much it would cost to replace cylinder heads if you mess up the DIY. Nothing saves an engine like a good flush, whether it's coolant or transmission. However, there is one other flush that I don't recommend. As promised, here is a bonus tip on a particular type of cleaning that you should avoid at all costs. But before I reveal this flush of death, take a second to hit subscribe, like, and share. That way you'll never miss the simple fixes that save thousands in repairs. This is one of the most hotly debated car maintenance topics. The majority of honest mechanics rarely recommend engine oil flushes, but those eager to put an extra $50 in their pocket always recommend it. Here's why listening to them is a big mistake. An engine oil flush is a cleaner designed to remove engine sludge. Fortunately, this isn't a common problem with modern cars that use synthetic oil. However, if a car has been neglected for years and the oil has oxidized, it will cause sludge. But even when a car has sludge, you have to be careful with a flush. That's because the chemicals in oil flushes are aggressive, and they can damage rubber seals and gaskets. You could then end up with high oil consumption, overheating, and engine failure. Besides that, an oil flush could push some of that sludge into smaller holes like the VVT solenoid. My rule is this: only do a flush on a used car with less than 150,000 miles. If an older car has sludge, drain and replace the oil a few times. The sludge will gradually reduce without breaking something important. So there you have it. 7 cleaning tips that can save your engine, and one that can go either way. Follow these tips and you'll be halfway toward getting your car to reach 500,000 miles.